do have a variety of applications, but only one true meaning there. Embryology tells us that at the moment of conception onward, a baby is a living human being. You are saying that some human beings don't have rights. That is what modern science says. Yours is a superstitious, philosophical position, not a scientific one. I will go back to the Bible, and I actually find it very illogical and irrational to not go back to the Bible.
Crowd. Thank you so much. This battle can be won. If you continue to be a threat to the progressive powers that be, if you continue to fight for that which is good and right and true, if you commit to only saying that which is true, if you play your part in taking over your school board, your city council, your local positions, in keeping your church away from the disaster that is social justice theology. If you start a family, have kids, raise them to be godly and wise and brave. If you infuse light and truth and courage into every sphere that you occupy, no matter how big and small, if you take seriously every role that you have and you see it as an opportunity to be a representative of truth, no matter how much you're bullied or intimidated, if you welcome the label of being a threat to evil, then yes, things can change. And I want to give a particular and a special message to Christians. Those of you who listen to my podcast, Relatable, who have read my book, You're Not Enough and That's Okay. You know that that's what I do. I try to make sense of the chaos and the confusion of the world from a conservative, yes, but primarily a biblical perspective. So I'm very thankful for all of the different people in this room who have all different kinds of backgrounds, but I do just want to address my fellow Christians. We can and should gratefully link arms with all kinds of people against tyranny, but at the end of the day, I do believe this is our fight first. We are on the front lines and always have been. We lead the way. The history of the church is characterized by resistance to evil rulers. As the Scottish reformer John Knox said, resistance to tyranny is obedience to God. And that is still true today. Without this belief by Christians, America would not exist. We were founded by Christians who believed passionately that all human beings are made in the image of God and were given by Him inalienable rights that the government did not create and therefore cannot arbitrarily take away because someone higher than the government created them. God's people are particularly bothersome threat to evil tyrants because of how little we regard our own safety and comfort. How committed we are to a mission that is higher than this world. We fear God more than we fear the government. And so we are absolutely relentless. For us, none of this is primarily political. It's not even primarily a culture war for us. Our fight against abortion, against gender ideology, for natural marriage and family, against unaccountable bureaucracy, etc., is primarily for the Christian biblical. We have the resolve that we do because it is rooted in the belief in the first verse of the first chapter of the first book of the Bible, and that is God created the heavens and the earth. He created the heavens and the earth, therefore He is the authority over all of it. Therefore, he and he alone says what is and what isn't, what's right and what's wrong, when life begins, what's justice, what's not, what's male, what's female, what a marriage is, and what it isn't. What the world calls a political battle or a culture war, we simply call being a Christian. Simply obeying God and seeking to influence everyone and everything with his goodness, with his order, regardless of who's in power, regardless of how many people agree or disagree with us, regardless of what direction whatever political party goes. John Knox also said this, one man with God is always in the majority. One man with God is always in the majority. And on that note, let me just say perhaps my most controversial stance, but I think in light of the bill signing that we saw at the White House over the past week, and unfortunately a lot of the compromises that are made even on our side, I just want to be really clear and hopefully give you the courage to be clear too. I will never ever compromise on the definition of marriage. That is an unpopular stance, even on the right. We've got members of Congress redefining the millennia-old definition of marriage between a man and a woman. But Congress doesn't have the power to do it because God created marriage, not the government. It is pre-civilizational. It's based on the biological complementarianism of a man and a woman. It is the only child-producing institution that exists and is the best child-protecting entity that exists. And therefore, a country will never survive and certainly not thrive without it. There will be plenty of people here, plenty of people in general who agree with me, who will say that conservatism is simply live and let live, that it's low taxes, that it's anti-wokeness. I respect these people a lot, but I disagree. That kind of movement may be successful in temporarily pushing back against some forms of modern absurdity, but it has no power to build anything good. No society has ever been successfully built on anything except for God and the natural family. Redefine marriage, and you can redefine anything, including what a woman is. So I don't care where the movement goes, where the political parties go. I will continue to be a threat to what I see as our country's moral decay. I will continue to be a threat to confusion, to chaos, to degeneracy, to the exploitation of children, to tyrannical regimes, to corruption. I will continue to say and do what God calls me to, and I'm confident that you will too. Abraham Lincoln said this, "My concern is not whether God is on our side. My greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right." God is always right. Therefore, the wisest and most effective thing that you can do in the fight for our country is to be on God's side and to be a threat to evil. Thank you.